Are black people really this dumb? I mean, really this dumb? Lyndon B. Johnson was a motherfucker. I'm sorry to use that language, but hey, it is the truth, okay? So, Martin Luther King, as much as we want to call him a hero, he was a Marxist, and he's done some despicable things during his time as a civil rights leader. However, because Martin Luther King is a Marxist and supported communist ideology, he supported what's called the Immigration and Naturalization Act. And so because of the Civil Rights Act, I feel like the Civil Rights Act has taken blacks back instead of forward, because during Jim Crow, and I'm not saying financially, I'm talking about, unity, achievements, creativity, originality. I mean, it was there. And then as soon as the Civil Rights Act was passed in 1964, all of a sudden, blacks have just went this way. And now, in 2025, we're failing in every metrics. We lead in poverty, and black men are the poorest in America, which is really sad to say. And black men aren't doing nothing about it. They're just sitting there with their thumbs up their behind, and it's getting worse. And soon, as I'm about to talk about this Immigration and Naturalization Act, blacks will become by 2065 fourth in population. So it is something serious to think about. And if we don't get our act together, that's exactly what's going to happen. So the Immigration and Naturalization Act of 1965 fundamentally reshaped U.S. immigration policy by eliminating racial quotas and opening the doors to immigrants from Asia, Africa, and Latin America. So while this was widely seen as a progressive step, some argue that it had unintended consequences for black Americans, which, as you can see, it does. One concern is that the influx of new immigrants may have increased competition for jobs, particularly in urban areas where black workers were already struggling against systemic discrimination. So, yes, during that time, when the Civil Rights Act passed, discrimination was still in effect and strong. And so blacks were still having a hard time getting those jobs. Now, when you open the border and just allow anybody to come in, well, that becomes a problem. And I don't think black people seem to understand this. Yet, some scholars suggest that this shift contributed to economic challenges for black communities, as employers sometimes favored immigrant labor over black workers. Additionally, the act prioritized family reunification, which benefited immigrant groups with strong existing networks, but did not necessarily address the historical disadvantages faced by black Americans. There you go. And it did not. Now, listen to this. On the other hand, the act was inspired by the civil rights movement, which sought to dismantle racial barriers in all aspects of American life. Many civil rights leaders supported the law, believing that ending racial quotas was a necessary step towards equality. And this is something that we should debate, but ending racial quotas was, I guess, the nail in the coffin for blacks, because once those floodgates was open, and now you're allowing immigrants to come in, which there's nothing wrong with immigrants coming in the right way, but now you're dealing with all the immigrants coming in, and they could say, like I heard some of the wildest thing, I'm in a domestic violence and I need to come and seek asylum. In America, there's a ton of domestic violence. Why are they not getting some special treatment? Except you're going to give illegal immigrants special treatment? That's crazy. And so when I see blacks running out in the streets talking about, yeah, because if they could, deport, and this is where it gets stupid. If they can deport the illegal immigrants, what makes you say that they won't deport us? Sometimes when I listen to them, I just, if you just want to give them one right here, because you just can't be this stupid, really.
You niggas then bought into this white supremacist idea of xenophobic as if they ain't gonna turn that xenophobia back on your black ass. If we keep on bragging about how 92% of black people voted against Donald Trump and he views anybody that opposes him as the enemy, why don't y'all think it's a threat when he says he's going to deport the enemy within? When Donald Trump says he's going to deport homegrown criminals, the 13th Amendment says the United States federal government shall not prohibit slavery except for punishment convicted of crime. It is not ironic that the descendants of slaves are most likely to find themselves a victim of being convicted of a crime. When he says he's going to start with the homegrown criminals, that notion is indicative of the black experience. There is no way to talk about homegrown criminals in America, especially from a conservative, without thinking that it implicates black existence, black experience, black freedom. That's my argument. My argument is, and you know,
I mean, that's one dummy right there. What he just said made no sense. So because I go to prison and I voted against Trump, that means that he could just boot me out. This guy makes no sense. I was born here in America, and if I do a crime, I do my time, and then I'm back on the streets. He didn't do it his first term. So what makes you think he told you exactly what he's going to do? Illegal immigrants were going back home. Case closed. Has nothing to do with because you didn't vote for Trump, and now you're going to go. That guy is a straight up bozo because he makes no sense what he's talking about.
To those stating, it is not my fight. This is why this country is in the position that it is today. The color of my skin should not matter. Whether I'm brown, black, purple. This is a humanitarian issue. We are in this position because there is no unity. We are not united. If anything, the other side, the one thing they're good at is uniting together. I want you to understand that hatred and racism is something that is taught. We are not born like that. There has never been a thought in my mind that said my voice didn't matter. Because together, we can move mountains. The National Guard is in LA. You think if your voice didn't matter? You think if unity didn't matter, there would be so much commotion? No. Mi gente, we are stronger together. It doesn't matter what color you are or where you come from. This is not a fight for just one. This is a fight for all. Today.
You guys are getting what you voted for. That's not the reason we're here. We're here because, as a collective, various people failed an open book test. We're here because he showed you who he was and you chose not to believe him. We are here because a man who has had smoke for the Latin community since day one, in their eyes, was better than a black woman. That's why we're here. We are here because certain members of a political movement decided to sacrifice the very people they were trying to protect by either not voting or voting for a non-viable candidate, or voting for that Mango Mussolini directly. That's why we're here. We are here because several members of disenfranchised communities thought they were special and they are finding out the hard way. Most importantly, we are here because black people said they were taking a step back and we meant it. No longer going on the streets so we could be cannon fodder. It's not happening. I wish you luck in your endeavors, but I will not be there.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are doing amazing. Thank you so much for clicking on this episode. I really do appreciate your love and support on this channel. So Latinos just woke up and they just realized that whatever is happening in the United States of America or whatever is happening to their community is because, you know, Latinos and other minorities are not united as the other side is united. And I was just sitting here asking myself, wait, where was this unity that you're asking for when you guys went out there to cast your votes? Where is this unity when, you know, Black Americans were telling you that you should not go and vote against your own self-best interests? It's crazy that now the things that are actually affecting them, issues that Black Americans have been facing for years, today is when they're waking up and realizing that racism and hatred is taught, something that they've been learning through the years from their community, from their countries, where even people that are more melanin, that, you know, the lighter skin people are treated very badly. And now they're realizing that humanity has nothing to do with race, when the problem in America has been a race problem from the beginning. And now is when they're realizing this, because it's affecting them. It's crazy. And I always say, when you see a problem that's affecting your neighbor or your friend or someone else around you in the community, just know it's just a matter of time before that problem catches up with you.
So I want you to see that there's another bozo. I don't know who this lady is, but you know, let's talk about racism if you really want the truth. So yes, at one time, we were separated. There was the whites only, the blacks only, Jim Crow, separate but equal, and it really wasn't equal. And time has gone by. The Civil Rights Act was supposed to fix that, but for some reason blacks have moved backwards. And now we're moving forward. And this country does not have a race issue. They just have people that's so obsessed with race and racism that we just can't seem to move forward, because every time we fall back into this race and racism. So when you hear these people talking about race and we need to stick together, sometimes people talk because they want to get their agenda accomplished. So they'll say things so that you can join them. That's what Democrats do. And like most of these Hispanics that want blacks to join them, they're very smart. So whenever you say, oh, it's happening to us and it's going to happen to you. Now, have anybody seen a Mexican man and a black man? Mexican men are very racist. I'm telling you, that's the truth. But when it's time to get what they need accomplished, just like Democrats, when they need something accomplished, that's when they come out and that's when they say, you know, oh, black people, we need to stick together. We got your back, this and that. And then we, black people, go, ooh, yeah, okay, I'm ready. And then we go and we join, and next thing you know, once again, it's going up behind, and case closed. And as people don't realize that we're failing in population because we're about to be fourth, that we need to get our act together, but we're not, because we're falling for the okie doke as usual. Now, yes, there are some people out there, white people, that are racist, that pretend to be your friend, a smile on your face, and you know, and everything. But when your back is turned, they just can't be around you because you're black. Vice versa. There are some black people out there that smile in your face and, hey, how you doing, so forth. And when your back is turned, you're cracker, you're white this, they say the worst things about you. Same thing with the Hispanics and same thing with the Asians. And I laugh when I hear black people say that they wanted Asians to join them. Most of the crime that happened to Asians is from blacks. So, you know, like I said, we need to really get our act together. Like, this is no joke. So when Trump is talking about deporting illegal immigrants and anybody who came in this country illegally, trust me, it is the right thing to do, because it will then remove and clear up all this so-called paperwork that needs to be done with judges and everything. And for some reason, they're getting the resources. Now look at the people in Chicago. These dumb black people. The people in Chicago are losing their resources. Mayor Brandon Johnson is giving it to the illegal immigrants. They're putting them up in hotels. They got to pay. And they're doing what they did to blacks when the Civil Rights Act was passed, and then the Immigration and Naturalization Act went through. They then allowed welfare to come in, and it was socialism. It was a trial period, and they tried it on blacks because they try everything on blacks, So they tried it on blacks, and it was a total failure. Okay, total failure. We got that housing, we got that money, we got that food, and it was a total failure because we destroyed our neighborhoods. We destroyed each other because we're like crabs in a box, in a basket. We can't support each other. As soon as one is succeed in the neighborhood, we gotta bring them down. We'll tear them apart, destroy them. And that's what happens. That's why the blacks that become successful, which is probably football player, basketball player, movie star, something, they don't come back. They live out there, and the only time they'll say hello to you is when you're at the game paying so that they could get paid. I don't understand black people. We are probably the dumbest people on the planet. We continue not thinking and doing some of the dumbest things. Now, anybody listening to this need to really understand that black people should be behind President Trump, because I already read something about how the Immigration and Naturalization Act of 1965 is what caused blacks to really not get the jobs that they wanted or deserve because of higher competition and more companies leaning more towards the immigrants, especially illegal ones, compared to homegrown Americans right here in this country. And it's happening right in our face, and we're so dumb that we're going out to like this no kings, like no kings. Who create these stupid things? These are Marxist individuals that make you think that you deserve, like, everybody who's rich, gimme. Except those same rich ones that's telling you that won't give you a dime of theirs. This is why I get frustrated with especially black people, because it seems like year after year after year, failure after failure after failure, and we don't get it. And then the Democrats, they play us so well with the booty shaking and sending them all this and out that we dumb ourselves down. And now look at us. We got to stand with illegal immigrants because if Trump's deporting them, we're next. What? Like, maybe somebody else can explain this better than me.
Barkley has a message for Democrats. Listen.
I voted Democrat for 55 straight years. And first of all, I want to make it clear, I don't think the Republicans are better. But I think we as black people have not held Democrats accountable for taking our votes for all these years.
Is he right? Is it time for the black community to hold the Democratic Party accountable? Joining me now is a former liberal turned conservative and director of urban engagement for Turning Point USA, Candace Owens, and she joins us now. Hey, Candace, good to see you.
Good to see you as well. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. He went on to say that he's frustrated with this president, never been more disgusted because of his tweeting, his hiring and firing. So he wasn't favorable to the Republicans, even though in the past he has said some compliments to the president. But he's more frustrated than ever, he says, right now. He says the focus is too much on Russia and too much on Stormy Daniels and needs to be on change. So seems that he's frustrated with both political parties. What was your reaction to his interview with David Axelrod?
I think he was right on the money. I think what we're seeing happening is essentially what happened with me. Black people are starting to wake up and understand that the Democrats have done nothing for them ever. Really, historically, they are the ones that brought us the KKK and racial terrorism, slavery, Jim Crow laws, and then we see in the 1960s, they introduced the Great Society Act, which gave us the welfare system. So what Charles is doing is he's waking up, and he's not fully on the conservative side yet, but I think that's what's going to come up next.
Well, he would say to you, because you're a Trump supporter, he says that the Trump supporters need to look in the mirror and say, my life sucks. I hate that word. I'm sorry. I'm just quoting it. Says, my life sucks because of me. So we need to take ownership of that. What were your thoughts when he said that?
I think he's incorrect. I think that he needs to understand that Trump actually represents a very real opportunity for the black community to wake up. And it starts with the death of political correctness. I don't really care about Trump's tweets. I care about the results. And the results are in. Okay, black unemployment is at a historic low right now. And that's because of the work of Trump focusing on our economy and not so much about our feelings, which has been traditionally what the Democrats have hijacked, our emotions.
Yeah, you know, it's funny, interesting that you bring that up, because Quinnipiac, their recent poll says job approval ratings for black voters is down. It was 46% in October, and now in March it's 36%. So what does this administration, what do Democrats and Republicans need to do to focus on the black community, and how do we fix any problems in that community? What's your advice?
Well, the first thing is putting back together the black family, which Democrat President Lyndon B. Johnson tore apart with his Great Society Act, and giving us new idols altogether. But also we need to talk about the illegal immigrants. That's a huge thing that Trump has been focused on, and they have been directly harming the black community. When you talk about jobs, and when you talk about who's coming in and taking the spot, it is the illegal immigrants, which is why the Democrats are so hyper-focused on getting their vote. It's a major problem which Trump is addressing, and I think all blacks need to stand with him at this point.
Okay, Candace Owens, thank you for joining us.
So black people, if y'all want to stay dumb and stupid, just stay right where you're at. Stay the course. Help everybody else out. And then when we're fourth in population, and now we notice that we don't have that kind of support like we get now because they need our votes, like they need the Hispanic votes now, then we watch it's going to be a totally different story. And I keep telling them, if we could vote Republican 40%, just 40%, that's all we need. Watch Democrats now scramble, because Democrats are the ones who's caused all of our problems. Remember, they're the KKK, they're the Jim Crow. They voted against the Civil Rights Act. This party is destructive, and they don't care about you. They care about themselves, their money. Look at Bernie Sanders talking about oligarchs, and yet he's worth millions, and he's not sharing his money with you. He's not sharing it. He's giving it to everybody else in his circle. Actually, he's not giving it to anybody. He's keeping it, and he's enriched himself. Just like Maxine Waters and all these, what's that other lunatic? She used to be the House. Anyway, all of them has enriched themselves, and now they turn their backs on us. And, who else to blame but us? Even the black ones enriched themselves, and they have turned their backs. And now we're listening to these fake black leaders to tell us that that the white man is after us, and it's ridiculous. And now they're telling us to support illegal immigrants, because if not, we're gonna be next. I get so tired of talking about this. It is the most ridiculous thing you could ever come up with. But, black people fall for it because we love just being the victim. Like, if we're not the victim, then we can't accomplish anything. Oh, God. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great weekend. I'm going to try to enjoy this weekend. Please remember, like, subscribe, and share this video. And if you need to reach out to me, you can reach me at themarcperspective@gmail.com. And you can leave comments below. I always respond back to as many as I can. I'm trying to grow a following so that we can then have live debates, live chats. And then I'll soon be going on to Twitter. And I'm going to join Twitter so that way I can then do live chats on Twitter. But I have to grow my following. So if you guys can share this video and tell others to subscribe. It would be a great help. Thank you guys. Enjoy your weekend. Peace.